Good morning to you wonderful subscribers. It's much appreciated. Thank you. What I want to talk to you about today is getting a little project going. And we're going to produce, well, I'm going to produce a children's book from start to finish, including publication. I'll be using Canva. You can use the free version to do this with. If you've got the full version, cool. But either way, you can do it with anything you want, really, to be honest with you. But I'm showing you how I'm doing them in Canva. But don't panic. All the videos in future are going to be simply on this project of a children's book. They're going to be mixed in there, and I may only do 1 or 2 videos a week on this children's book as we go through it and as I design the pages and come up with the ideas and we go through the stages. It'll no doubt help you if creating children's books this way, if you're not a very good illustrator, that is. And yeah, you'll get your book up in no time. But I must stress as well that it's important, even though you're in this project, you'll be using images from the internet, free images, or if you've subscribed to any image apps, it's still important to acknowledge the illustrator. But it doesn't really matter whether you've paid for a subscription for images or you're getting free images. If you're getting a big bulk chunk of images or whatnot, you really need to give them a little mention. I mean, they're pretty much bare bones when they upload their art to some of these sites, and a little mention could go a long way. It doesn't have to be a web address or anything like that, because someone could do a search for them in the future just from your little one-liner or little input. And I'll show you about that as we go along. If you can illustrate, great. When you won't need this, you probably won't need this. Well, you might need this to help set out your pages and use your own illustrations in there instead of other people's illustrations. First thing you're going to need to do really is to look out for these. This thumbnail is the colour you'll be looking for. If we go over to my channel, we go to playlists, what you'll now see here shortly will be one that looks like this, and it's a kind of an orangey brown colour. That will only be about this children's book creation. So the first thing we're going to do is custom size. We're going to go for inches. I want bleed on this, so instead of 8.5, I'm going to go for 8.625 on the width. So we're adding 0.125 to the width. That'll give us enough bleed. And for the height, we're going for 8.75. Now that's 8.5 plus 0.25. That's 8.75 on the height. So yeah, I mean, that's quite straightforward, but that covers us for the bleed. So we create new. But just temporarily, for now, I'm just going to put a bit of a title in. Jacob and the Dinosaurs. And we're using the author name of Steve Jacob. That's myself and my grandson. I'll make sure it doesn't have to be inside the box because we've gone full bleed. But I want it to be because I want it to look nice and neat. But it doesn't really matter because we may end up changing all this at some point to have a better background. So let me just sort of fit that in here, and that'll do for now. Now the next page, we're looking at sort of anywhere between 32 and 36 pages for this. Now, because we're going straight through Amazon, we can really do whatever we want. We can go with 32, 36, 34, 38, 28. It doesn't really matter that much. If we were to go outside of Amazon and we wanted to push it through traditional publishers, we'd be looking more closely to 32 pages, which is pretty standard for a children's book. But we've got a bit of extra freedom here using Amazon, so might as well use the extra pages if it's not costing extra money. And I've done a bit of research there, and between 28 pages and 38 pages, it's the same price to produce in full colour and premium colour in this size of book. So, you know, you may as well have the 38 pages, or you may as well just have whatever you fancy in between sort of 28 and 38. Right, okay, so the next page is going to be the back of, obviously, this first page, because when we look at our book pages, the cover obviously doesn't count. The first page is an odd number, which is 1. The second page is an even number, which is 2. And we just go all the way through the book. So the book has to be an even number of pages. If you don't put them on, Amazon will. So if you finished off with 29 pages, for instance, Amazon will make sure it's 30, or even 32. They just sort of add the pages to how they see fit. So you could have some blank pages at the back there. So try to keep it to even numbers. Right, so we don't class that as page 1 in this because it's a title page. It's only when a story starts that you start the page numbering, if you want page numbering. So on the back of this title page, which will be page 2 here, as you see, we will create some copyright information. Now what I've got here is copyright 2022, all rights reserved, author Steve Jacob for this. Now that's all I need. Now you've seen it. It's now been digitally created, but now there's a copyright there. So for this book, this title, this whole setup, there is now a copyright in place. But we'll keep it small. We don't want it any more than 12, and ideally get it down to about 10. But at least you've got something to fight with if someone else probably decided to publish your book before you did, because everything's date stamped here. You could use a camera and take pictures of what you're doing, and you'll have a date stamp in your digital camera. Right, okay, so then we get to the first page. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer you to a video that I did about creating double page spreads and lining them up. So you can, in the meantime, you can have a little look at that video, because that's where we're going next, and that tells you all about what we're going to be doing next. But I've really given you a bit of a basic rundown here of what we're going to be doing. But have you got a story? Well, this is always the problem. What kind of story? Yeah, you'll probably have a start and a finish, and really you've got to make up those pages in between, and you may end up changing it as you go along. I do, and sometimes I come up with an idea and think, well, actually, I'll now change that to that, and that's the way this story could go. So in my head, I have an idea, which is Jacob finds a dinosaur egg, and at the end, he finds the dinosaur. So who laid the egg? And returns the baby dinosaur to its parent. That's the idea. And anything in between is going to be the adventure. What he's going to be doing with the egg, and what are the dinosaurs doing about finding the egg. It's going to be lots of fun. And the image of my grandson, he looks just like him. So I think it's brilliant. In fact, let me just get an image of him. And there he is, and there's the dinosaur egg that we'll be using. So, okay, hopefully you get some great ideas for your own children's book, and even work along with it. Start now. Start your book now, and use this information. And the information that I'm going to provide at the end of this video, there'll be a link to another video, like I say, which will be showing you how to create the double page spreads that we'll be working with. There'll be a link here to show you how to take images apart, like arms and legs and heads and things like that, and be able to sort of manipulate them how you like. And yeah, so stick with us on this one. In the meantime, there'll be lots of other videos on different parts of publishing, self-publishing, low content books, all kinds of things.